SilencerCo Velos LBP. LBP meaning low back pressure. Let's hope it's enough back pressure to cycle 300 Blackout subs. Let's find out. Oh yeah. Welcome back to Sawtooth Tactical. The SilencerCo Velos LBP. LBP, again, for low back pressure. And this can, I'm very impressed. So, got to test it out yesterday at the range. I tested it on a couple of different guns. One on this AR-10, chambered in 6.5 Creedmoor. And then also, of course, on my 300 Blackout, which felt like a toy after shooting that AR-10. But holy crap, this can is really good. And honestly, for the price, it better be. It's not a cheap suppressor, but this thing, I mean, just look at it. For one, it is beautiful, and it comes with everything you need, honestly, which is pretty nice. When you think about the cost of a can, and then you add in mounting systems and everything else, well, that adds to the cost. When your suppressor comes with mounting systems because it's made by the company that makes the mounting system, well, then you got to factor that in as well. But if you guys are interested in the SilencerCo Velos, make sure you're subscribed and let's get into it. Initial shots, I'm loving this can. SilencerCo makes a great product. When I said that it comes with everything, I'm going to open this box up here, and very nice packaging, nice presentation there. But if you pull the suppressor out, or even the part of the foam that has the suppressor in it, you see down below, you've also got all of your tools here. And of course, the suppressor already comes with the SilencerCo ASR mounting system, which, if you guys know, I like the ASR system. It's what I'm using on my Polonium K. I've got it on all of my 5.56 guns, so it's something I'm already very, very familiar with. But I've had to purchase those Bravo mounts separately for my suppressor. I've had to purchase all of the muzzle devices separately for the guns, and even the tools separately I've had to order from SilencerCo. So when you add all of that stuff into this price, it really brings the price down significantly. But when you think about the kind of performance that you get for the price of this can, I understand why it costs what it does. And the reason that I say that is this. Low back pressure. Low back pressure, I almost expect a suppressor to maybe not be quite as quiet. But I ran this thing on my 300 Blackout. No hearing protection, and it was wonderful. To be quite honest, I shouldn't have been wearing hearing protection even when I started, but because of past experiences, because of the can that I currently keep on this until I get something bigger with more volume, more effective, I've been used to using hearing protection, even with subs. But with a big enough, with a good enough suppressor, you don't need hearing protection with 300 Blackout subsonic. The other thing I was concerned about with it is low back pressure. I already, with this gun, had to tune it with a very light buffer and spring to be able to cycle subs reliably, lock back on the last round, all of that. Well, that was not an issue with this. It literally was tuned perfectly for subsonic 300 Blackout. I don't have an adjustable gas system on this 300 Blackout, and so I was just wondering how it was going to go at the range, and it went very well. Like I said, first I ran it on this big 6.5 Creedmoor here, and there will be a video about this gun coming out next week, so stay tuned for that. And it was nice on it. You know, 6.5 Creedmoor is not a subsonic round. So it wasn't super duper quiet. I still wore hearing protection, but I didn't notice any gas to my face, and I was right up on the rifle shooting prone. But man, where it really shined was this 300 Blackout. But before we get deeper into it, let's have a quick word from our channel partner. This video is sponsored by Aura. Aura is peace of mind in a world that is so much online these days. Every time that one of you guys clicks the first link in the description and signs up for aura.com/sawtoothtactical, you help me fund this channel to be able to bring you guys new cool stuff to show. What does Aura offer you? Well, for one, if you use that link, you get 2 weeks free trial. That's 14 days, and it is only $12 a month after that. And for that $12, like I said, you get peace of mind. What they do is that they go online and they find data brokers that have your information, and they submit opt-out requests on your behalf. And then scammers, spammers, all these things online that want to take advantage of you can't get a hold of your information anymore. I've been using it now for months, and it's really helped me out quite a bit. I'm one of those people that really gets sick of getting spam calls, spam emails, all this stuff all the time, and I don't get it anymore ever since I've been using Aura. It is well worth the money, but you also get a lot more than just opt out from data brokers. You get a VPN, home title monitoring, password manager. Basically, all of the stuff that your online security, they just take care of all of it for you. It's super easy to set up. It takes like minutes, and it hardly costs you anything. Think about all the other things that you spend more than $12 a month on. This just, it's nice to not have your information out there anymore and to not have to worry about that stuff anymore. So check out Aura, use my link. You get 14 days, 2 weeks free if you use that link. Again, that's aura.com/sawtoothtactical. I really, really love Aura, and I think you will too. The great thing about a 30 caliber suppressor, especially one that uses the ASR quick attach system, is you can run it on all kinds of different platforms. I ran it on 6.5 Creedmoor and 300 Blackout yesterday, but I'm also going to test this can out on one of these 5.56 guns next week because I have ASR muzzle devices on all of them, and I kind of want to see what the difference between low back pressure can and an extremely high back pressure can is, not just in gassiness and recoil, but also in sound. I've been extremely impressed sound-wise with this Otter Creek Labs Polonium K, but it is not a low back pressure can. It is significantly gassy, although really not all that bad. Not nearly as bad as people make it out to be. But this is supposed to be low back pressure. That is what the LBP stands for. And you can see there in its design, it lets, that excess pressure out the front, and so you get less pressure out the back. And in fact, you can see that with this gun. I mean, it's not even that dirty. The bolt carrier group on this thing right here is filthy. And that's the difference between low back pressure and high back pressure, but also different rounds. 300 Blackout subs are a lower pressure round than 5.56 anyway. But there will be more testing on this can to come because I do want to see how it goes on a 5.56 gun. I should have brought one out with me yesterday to the range, but it was an extremely windy day. I had all this filming to do, all these new things to film, and forgot to bring a 5.56 gun with me. So next week, I will be comparing this on a 5.56 gun, probably on the Mark 18, because I've been loving shooting that thing lately. And I think this big old suppressor will really make the 14.5 inch extremely long, which is one of the great things about short guns. On this 300 Blackout, I mean, this thing does not even feel very long or very heavy at all because the gun itself is so small and light. And that is the great thing about SBRs or AR pistols. But as you guys know, I love short guns, and that is one of the biggest reasons, is because you can suppress it and still not have something that's long with a bunch of weight way out in front of you, that's tiring you out when you're shooting, which is really nice. As far as point of impact shift with this thing, well, you can see in the shooting footage from yesterday, I had a couple targets relatively close, 30, 40 yards, and I had one about 75, 80 yards away. And I kept, those are the shots where I went up and shot up at the hill. And with a red dot, I was hitting those targets. So point of impact shift seems to be nothing, at least as far as I could tell. The battery in my optic is dying quickly. But I want to hear what this thing sounds like with no ear probe. Let's get this filming done. Oh, that's awesome. And we can't talk about a SilencerCo suppressor without talking about the ASR mounting system, because SilencerCo came up with the ASR system. It's the SilencerCo ASR mounting system. And I already use that mounting system. It's what I have on all of my 5.56 guns. And I don't even have a SilencerCo suppressor. But I really like that mounting system. I've had no issues with it at all. Although it did get kind of carbon locked on the Mark 18 last time I shot. And I did have to order, let's see if I have it right here. I had to order one of these tools from SilencerCo, which works on their suppressors and their mounts. And I had to get this in order to get the suppressor off of this gun. That's the only issue I've had with it. And that's also probably because I haven't rock setted the suppressor onto my mount yet. So when I tried to pull it off, the suppressor started unscrewing from the mount instead of the mount from the muzzle device. But as soon as I got it, no issue. And this, the Velos, comes with all those tools in the box, which is really nice. But this mounting system is sweet. So after shooting this AR-10 yesterday on the mount, on the muzzle device that's on it, ASR mount, AR-10, shooting prone, I'm not shooting super fast. The can did not get very hot. But I was able to take it right off and put it right onto my 300 Blackout because I have an ASR muzzle device mounted on this right now. Now, as you can see, I did not time it correctly. That's because this suppressor is not mine. I've got it for doing this video. I want to thank you, Nick. I really appreciate you loaning me another suppressor to do videos on. It's very helpful. And in fact, I have another suppressor next week that we're going to do a video on, possibly the smallest suppressor in the world. This is the Whip Machine and Tool Canuter valve. So next week we will be comparing that also on 5.56 compared to this. Now, not really a very fair comparison, I am sure, but I still want to see how effective a suppressor that small is. So we've got a lot of cool content coming up. But my point was, I didn't really care about timing this right, although it does come with the shims to be able to do that, because I was only going to be running it with the can on it. I didn't really care how the muzzle brake worked. And it's going to come off it when Nick takes it back. But anyway, the ASR system, so you just thread it on. I did it off camera because YouTube doesn't like that. And then it's got this locking collar. You turn the locking collar until it clicks, and your can is solid and it can't unthread. It's on there and it's very good. And in fact, sometimes it's even very tight, and with this light in the way, can make it a little bit hard to get off. But again, right back off that quickly. I really, really like the ASR system. ASR is definitely one of my favorite mounting systems for suppressors. So you see how you've got some threads here, and then you've got like a ribbed for her pleasure part. Well, what you see in here is it threads on, and then this locking collar, it pushes in on these two things, which put friction on those ribs, and then the thing can't go anywhere. And so there are other systems that are really good that you mostly just thread on, and you have like a tapered, collar or something like that, or a tapered muzzle device. And those work fantastic as well. But I do like just knowing that once this thing is locked, that it cannot come off or go anywhere. To me, it's really nice. Now, again, if you do have something like a light in the way, that can make it a little bit harder to get a grip on this thing. but that hasn't really caused me any trouble. I have lights on all my guns right where that locking collar is. Hasn't been an issue. As far as the Velos LBP goes though, sound suppression from it is really, really good. Especially with subsonic 300 Blackout. I mean, you'd expect that, especially a suppressor of this size. But I do think that people also expect a low back pressure suppressor to not be very quiet. And that was not my experience with this at all. In fact, of all the cans that I've run on this 300 Blackout, I think this was the quietest one. When I took my ear pro off and started shooting it without it, it made me laugh how good it sounded. I could mag dump all day with subsonic 300 Blackout with this can and be totally comfortable without ear pro the entire time. And that's how subsonic rounds should be. So unfortunately, letting me use this for the video, I am going to have to get a new suppressor for my 300 Blackout. I've been using the Whip Machine & Tool Dirty 30 right here, which it was the first suppressor I ever got. And you can see how small it is. So look at this and the difference here in size. Well, I guess if I start where the suppressor is. Big difference in overall size, overall volume, length, and all that. That was what I wanted. I wanted something compact to keep my short-barreled 300 Blackout short. I also wanted something, aesthetics, right? I wanted the color to match. The color matches. But physics is a thing, and with a can with this little amount of volume, there's only so quiet it can really make your gun. And to be quite honest, I feel like my Mark 18, which is 5.56, supersonic only, with the Otter Creek Labs Polonium K, is just as quiet as 300 Blackout subs with the Whip Machine & Tool Dirty 30. Not trying to talk shit about this Dirty 30. I think for what it is, for the price you pay for it, for how compact it is, I think it's pretty good. But if you really want quiet subs, you need a bigger suppressor with more volume. And you get that with something like this. I think because this can is, it's pretty big. I think it is perfect on a short barreled platform like this. I can't wait to try it out on the Mark 18 next weekend. See what the sound quality is like compared to the Polonium K there. Because again, this suppressor is at least another inch longer than the Polonium K. So quite a bit more volume than that, but also low back pressure. So we'll see how that affects the sound. I did think that it sounded pretty good on this 6.5 Creedmoor, and we're going to be doing more shooting with this gun, with this SilencerCo Velos 7.62 LBP on that AR-10 as well, because more testing is always good. But that video is going to take a couple weeks because, for one, I've never really been much of a long-range shooter, and there are things that I need to learn in order to do it justice. But I did take some shots at 100, some shots at 220 yesterday, and just got to learn how to, I got to learn bullet trajectory with 6.5 Creedmoor and where to hold and, how to dial my scope and all that, because it's just something I haven't done much of. So that's a video that we are working on. Got some of that footage yesterday, but for right now, this SilencerCo Velos LBP, this suppressor is very, very impressive. If it's one that you've been thinking about getting, I feel like I can definitely give it my stamp of approval so far. We're going to be doing more testing with it next week, but this thing is honestly maybe my favorite suppressor I've used yet. It really is that good. No ear pro needed with this suppressor. This thing is sweet. Unfortunately, I can't tell you anything about flash signature suppression at this point. I haven't shot it in the dark. As far as first round pop goes, didn't really notice any of that. It seemed as quiet from round 1 to round freaking 50. 80, however many rounds I shot yesterday. I mean, it didn't seem any different for any of them. And those were the first rounds ever put through this suppressor. Again, thank you, Nick. This thing sounds amazing. The low back pressure is amazing. I do want to try that on 5.56. That will be next week. But I am extremely, extremely impressed. You know, most things when it comes to guns, you get what you pay for. This is not a cheap suppressor. It's going to be over $1,000. In fact, a bit over $1,000. But, you know, this is a cheap suppressor. And the difference is significant. But I think there's also great deals you can get. You know, these polonium suppressors are not real expensive, and I'm very impressed with that one. So it just depends, but that is definitely not low back pressure. So if you can get low back pressure and great sound reduction, that is like a win-win. And this suppressor does give that to you. The sound suppression is amazing. The back pressure reduction seems very, very good. I had 0 point of impact shift and ASR mounting, so I could put it on like 10 guns that are in this room right now. That's pretty sweet, especially because I already run the ASR system. I think that the SilencerCo ASR system is fantastic, and I don't think it gets enough recognition these days. I think it's a very good mounting system. I've been using it a lot. Pretty much every time I go shooting for the last few months, I've been using the ASR system on one gun or another, and I'm very impressed with this mounting system, and I'm very impressed with SilencerCo's suppressor. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like. Let me know down in the comments if you have experience with SilencerCo suppressors, which ones, and whether your experience has been good or bad. I would love to hear from you guys because I, so far, am very impressed with the Velos 7.62 LBP. This thing is awesome. And from Sawtooth Tactical, stay strapped or get clapped.